Hi, welcome to Bliss Live. I'm Casey Begley, and I am the visionary and creative director for Bliss Dance Festival. We are doing something extra special, and that is interviewing our BDF featured choreographers. We have a few that are coming back for this week. Tonight, we have Meleza Morris, and we're going to bring her on right now. Meleza!
Hi.
Hi. I call you Magical Meleza or Magical Aurora because I think that you are full of magic.
Thank
Thank,
you.
thank you for being here tonight with us. So excited to talk about your piece.
Yeah, me too.
So your piece is called Peel the Layers,
Mhm.
and it is a piece that talks about your sexual superpower, which is consent. I love that. So I have a list of questions. Um, so this is clearly a performance art piece. And I'm going to say that it's a powerful and visually provocative performance art piece.
Mm.
What motivated you to create this, and what are the layers that are being peeled away from you? Do you want me to repeat that? Okay, you got it.
Thank you so much, Casey. I feel that you are such a magical being as well, and I'm so grateful to be here with you and Stephanie and everyone else in the Ethernet and internet and beyond. So, oof, this piece was created from a place of me needing to heal and wanting to heal. I consider myself a sexual revolutionary and someone who is part of a community of individuals internationally and domestically through elevating sexual empowerment and addressing sexual shame and all of the guilt and punishment that we put on ourselves and society puts on ourselves to not express ourselves freely. And so, through this journey of self discovery and through also learning more about myself and what kind of business I want to create and what kind of life I want to live and how I want to be of service to others, I decided to explore sex parties and explore my own sexuality and group sex and in those kinds of environments in a place where I felt safer to be in. And in one of these events, I felt very grounded with this activity that we did that's called Liquid Love, which is really fun. And everyone's in the space. And then at first it starts off with your underwear on, but like everything else off. And you get warm coconut oil drizzled all over yourself and other people. And then you just start rubbing up on everyone. And it's all consensual. And you ask, like, hey, can I touch you here? Can I touch you there? And through that touch, and through that opportunity to be asked those questions, I just like dropped in. And I just felt like super yummy, super turned on, very excited. And I felt myself going into a space where normally I would feel very shy to have erotic, sensual, intimate moments with someone that's considered a stranger. And I, in that moment, in that elevated state, decided to engage with this couple, not knowing if they were a couple or not, because everyone's just like mixing together. But I later came to find out that they are a couple. And in the throes of touching each other, we moved into the next phase of the fun. And
What was that?
and so the facilitator for the play party encouraged us to take off our bottoms if we wanted to. So many of us did. And then if we wanted to perform oral, fellatio, suck, lick, tease, you could. And so I engaged with this person who has a penis, and I
I hate
decided,
this.
yeah, I decided to go into this space where typically I wouldn't um, have oral sex with someone I don't know, and uh, I felt comfortable enough to do that. And then there is a moment where, unannounced and unbeknownst to me, he decided to ejaculate inside of my mouth. And it was a very jarring feeling. I felt that it wasn't consensual. I felt that so much had led up for everything to be consensual, and that he inadvertently took advantage of the situation that we were in. And it also was a big lesson for me with asking, or with like letting know my boundaries. So ever since then, I've been very, very clear with anyone, regardless of whether it's group sex or just one partner, that I don't want to have come in certain parts on certain parts of my body, because consent is a two-way street in some cases. And even though that was a clear violation where he has control over when he's going to come and he didn't announce it, and there's an implication there that it was this very kind of like domineering uh, feeling, and I didn't consent to that. I left that event feeling like really like heavy and weighted and frustrated at the culture of people who have penises coming on anyone without letting them know that they're going to come, or where they're going to come, or how they're going to come, and just assuming that we're cum buckets, that we're receiving, and that we're cum buckets. A lot of porn culture shows that. A lot of it is like just a lot of ejaculation on other people's face and on their bodies, and like no, like there's rarely any porn I've watched growing up, and I know things are changing now, which is really exciting, but like where the person who has the penis and is about to ejaculate on the person who's receiving that ejaculation asks, "Hey, can I come here? Is that okay?" Like that, it's like, oh, implicitly, like, yeah, sure, just like come. No, it's like, no, absolutely not. Like, I want you to ask me. I want to consent to this,
Right.
And so I wanted to address where porn culture has failed us at large. And I wanted to directly address the audience and my followers and my community to empower themselves with consent in general, and with asking, because it's not ejaculation itself that's disgusting or gross or shameful or anything. It's the fact that someone else might not want to receive it in the way that the person who can ejaculate is giving it. So through the process of pouring wax on myself, which is very erotic, and it's this kind of like beautiful, buzzing, warm feeling on my body, and asking the audience to peel the layers of cum off of me, it's empowering myself to ask for consent, to set my boundaries, to receive in a way that I want to receive, and then to peel those layers away of the trauma, of the negative experiences, and kind of throw that in the garbage. And so a lot of my performance art that I've done does kind of start with that burlesque vibe, because I want to encourage people to not only see burlesque in this way of like people expressing themselves as taking their clothes off, or like, empowering themselves, obviously, because burlesque is an incredibly empowering art form for whatever reason, but also to then think a little bit deeper on certain issues that have to do with sexuality.
Well, we just jumped in, didn't we? I mean, I'm just thinking, wow. Okay. So first, I want to say, Meleza, that I'm so sorry that that happened to you. And I mean, that's traumatic. And the truth is, for women, it happens often as far as not having that consent. And so I think this is such an important topic. And I do believe that it is a sexual superpower once you learn about consent and how to ask and how to deny and how to honor yourself and your boundaries. Then I do agree with you that I think it is a sexual superpower. I love it. And I love that you did what you did with your piece. I'm wondering, what is your dance background?
Oh, oh man. I started dancing in high school, and I started dancing in like with choreography and like school performances, and we did a bunch of different stuff, and we did hip hop, we did bhangra, we did Latin dance, and I'd put up these performances with my peers, and I'd follow the choreographer, and it was just insanely liberating. I remember doing a piece by Sarah, Like a Boy, and we got to wear like baggy pants and the fitted and the like tank top pants and like grind on the floor and like have this experience of like what we thought male dominance was, at that time.
Wow. This is in high school?
Yeah, this is in high school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We didn't do that when I was in high school. I'm a little bit older than you, though, so different generations, possibly. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have another fun question for you. Well, we'll see. Okay, you get almost fully naked in this piece. Mm-hmm. You're left in a G-string and pasties. How do you decide how naked you will be for your art?
I think that's a really beautiful question to ask, and it depends on the piece, honestly. For me, nudity is incredibly empowering, and it hasn't always been that way. Being in the fashion industry and being a model, there's a lot of energy around like how much money your body is worth, right? Like how much money is your nudity worth? Same thing with acting. If you're like in a scene naked, you get paid more money. So I had started to like create this pattern and this story in my life that like, if I showed my body to someone and I didn't get paid or I didn't get a lot of money, that I was devaluing myself and that I was giving myself up to the world and that I was not able to gain like money from that, and so throughout the deprogramming and reprogramming, I recognize that nobody owns my body. No business owns my body. No structure owns my body. This is my body. And I choose to share my body how I choose to share my body. And there's no price for that. It's a priceless thing, and so I definitely, with like dance and performance art particular to this, and also my shibari work, which is Japanese bondage. For those of you who don't know, you can look it up, Shibari. It's empowering to be naked, to show the human form, to see where the lines are, to see where the curves are. And also I have stretch marks. And that was something I was shamed for in the fashion industry, where I was oftentimes looked at and been like, oh my God, have you lost how much weight did you lose? And it was like people assuming that I had lost a bunch of weight. And first of all, like, that's fucked up, because if someone has lost weight and they have stretch marks, like, what a fucking accomplishment that they've chosen to lose weight if that's what they've chosen to do, and why shame them? And secondly, it's like, fuck you. But
so like, Meleza, we are live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. So I think that we cannot say the F word.
Fudge monkeys. I am so sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you for the reminder, Casey. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's like you. And there's that feeling of wanting to empower myself and wanting to show body positivity through my stretch marks, other people seeing that, other people feeling positive about it, and not thinking that it's ugly, not thinking that it's not marketable, not thinking that it's like something to be shamed on. So all of those reasons.
That's great. I love that. We all have stretch marks.
Yeah.
And many people get them through puberty when they're just growing, right?
Yeah, that's what happens. I got them growing.
You know, you have answered my other questions with that first question that I asked you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's one. Okay, so we hear when you're pouring the wax on, we hear the audience cheering as you pour wax on your body. What was going through your mind at that point? Were you like, heck yeah? Or were you turned on? Were you surprised? Yeah, what was going through your mind?
I was very validating. I mean, it was very validating to be seen in that way, that, you know, that kink, that wax pouring kink can be honored. And it did turn me on. I was honestly shaking and nervous throughout that whole performance, you know. And the wax and the heat and the impact of that actually kind of took me out of being in front of an audience. You know, it was just very stimulating to feel that on my body, and it felt really beautiful for other people to enjoy it too, you know.
I can only imagine how warm or hot that wax is. I mean, I've only had like, paraffin wax on my hands when I get a manicure. So I'm imagining it around that temperature or and throughout your body. That seems like it would be overwhelming, and I can see how it would like make you really focus inward and on you and on the sensation of it rather than the audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, paraffin wax honestly isn't that hot, you know, so
Okay.
I mean, in comparison to like a soy candle or a wax candle that's used for wax play, which paraffin wax is not typically used for wax play. It's definitely more like beeswax or soy candles for sure. And so those have way more of a sting to the skin. So the paraffin wax is kind of like a cheat, that it looks like it's much more hot and like painful than it actually is.
So we're all learning out here today,
Yeah.
everyone. We're learning shibari. I mean, we're learning wax. I mean, I'm telling you, Meleza, she's magical. She has all kinds of interesting stories to share that just include shibari and wax. It's so fun.
Yeah, I appreciate you providing a platform for me to talk about BDSM and kink culture in a way where it's removing the taboo and the stigmas that are attached to it, and a lot of fear that's attached to it, and a lot of ignorance and misunderstanding and curiosity, and that's a big part of my goal and my mission, is to make BDSM kink more mainstream, more less out of the deep dungeon, and more into like the bedroom, more into, you know, a space where people can feel comfortable, and also where they're doing it in a way that they're educated and not just doing it because they watched porn and they saw someone do it and they're like, oh, I know how to do that. I read one article, I saw one video. So that's like a big part of my work.
So great. Thank you so much. I watched your piece today about 3 times to prepare to prepare myself. I mean, I've already watched it before as the director of the festival. But I watched it 3 times today because I really wanted to understand your piece. I was listening to the music and the transitions in the video. I just feel like it was so raw and beautiful. and shocking. I was hoping, honestly, I was really hoping for something like your piece in this festival this year. We started last year, and we had many different kinds of pieces, but nothing quite like this one. So I was very excited to stretch our boundaries a little bit, and I think that you are paving the way for even further exploration for next year's BDF. So yeah, so thank you. Thank you so much, Meleza. It's so great to have you. Thank you for coming and talking to us. We really appreciate it, and you're just lovely. Thank you, Meleza. We're going to sign out of Bliss Live, and we'll be back tomorrow night with, who is it that we have tomorrow? Oh, Andrea Spearman. Okay, she is a firecracker. So you want to come back tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. and it'll be me and Stephanie and Andrea. Thank you. Good night.